What's poppin', man? Happy New Year to all my real ones. This is Logan Murdock here for another edition of Real Ones, the first of 2026. Myself, Howard Beck, and Raja Bell are in the building where we talk about the biggest story in the league right now, which is Trey Young. And if he is going to get traded, or he is going to get traded, but where he's going to get traded to, is it going to be Washington or is it going to be another stealth team? We get into all of that. We get into Trey's reputation around the league and how that's either going to help or hurt him. We get into his game and whether that's going to help or hurt him in the backstretch of his career as he enters his prime. And what can go in either direction. And we get into a little bit of OKC. Is the sky falling? They're 6-6 over the last 12. Who knows? Does JDub need to step up? Does Shay... is he taking on too much responsibility? Does Chet need to step up? All of that. We'll talk about that. Then we get into a fascinating discussion about Jaylen Brown. Then we get into another fascinating discussion about Raj's memory in the 2001 NBA Finals and give flowers to Tyronn Lue. Really, really fun episode. Make sure you guys tap in with us every Tuesdays and Fridays. And you know what time it is. realonesmailbag@gmail.com. 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 Yeah, man, it's big things going on in 2026 for Real Ones. We're going big places. So we want you to come along for the ride with us because this is for all of us. For now, Tuesday episode. Cliff, play the theme music. Poppin', Real Ones. Logan Murdock here, Howard Beck there, Raja Bell over there. Real Ones in 4K. We're getting ready for, the big move, as they say. It's good to see you guys, man. It's really good to see you guys. Happy New Year. I would do all the pleasantries, but let's get right to it, man. We're talking Trey Young and the Atlanta Hawks, okay? Reports came out last night. It's a classic. We don't know what we're going to talk about, or we do know what we're going to talk about, and then some big news comes in, and then we're like, okay, we need to talk about this. This is the biggest story in the NBA, so we're going to talk Trey Young, who him and his agents, Aaron Mitz, Drew Morrison, and Austin Brown, are working with the franchise on a trade. This is from Shams Charania. And then that was the first bit of news, and then the second bit of news is that the Washington Wizards are vying for Trey Young services. Now, Trey Young has a player option for next season. The Washington Wizards, reportedly, this is according to a friend of the show, Mark Stein, they are potentially pursuing Trey Young with CJ McCollum's expiring deal. And Trey Young has a player option for next year that he's presumably going to pick up. First off, I'll start with Howard on this. I get why the Hawks want to trade Trey Young at this point. We have talked about this throughout the podcast and throughout this season. But why the Wizards? Why do the Wizards want Trey Young? Why would they presumably want him?
Yeah, it's funny, actually, the way this unfolded yesterday. Credit to our buddy Mark Stein, because he had this first, it was like at 4:53, I jotted down, that the Wizards have emerged as legitimate destination for Trey Young is the way he framed it. And then like a while later, Shams had the other report about Trey and his agents working with the Hawks on this, blah, blah, blah. But it was weird because usually this player's now up for grabs. He's being marketed, he's being shopped, whatever. And then you start hearing names of teams and possibilities. But this was like the Wizards are a possible destination before we really knew for sure that they were looking to move him. So it's all kind of unfolding in a funky way. Just everybody's got their own, obviously, sources of information on this. The thing that hit me that hit me right off the bat was, okay, Washington, team that's in a rebuild, lots of cap room, lots of flexibility, lots of contracts they can move, CJ McCollum expiring, all this. But why would the Washington Wizards want Trey Young at this stage? Because one, they are still in tank mode and they have reason to stay in tank mode. Their pick is top 8 protected, but if it falls below 8, it goes to the Knicks. So the Wizards still need to be tanking this year. Now, maybe they think Trey Young will continue to help them tank, given some of the results in Atlanta. But why would the Wizards, after what looked like a multi-year tank and still young, still rebuilding, want to go all in for a high-priced star who has obviously not produced in the way or as effectively or been as much of a contributor to winning as he has been with the Hawks. It doesn't make a lot of sense unless you get to that other line in Mark Stein's report, which was remains to be seen essentially whether the Hawks might have to include draft capital to offload him, which is wild, right? A guy who is an all-star caliber player, one of the top assist guys every year, one of the top 3-point shooters, just a very talented, if flawed player. You're not usually the one including the draft capital, but it seems like that might be the case. And we'll see how this unfolds. We'll see if he ends up with Washington. If Trey Young is now firmly on the market, as he appears to be, and if Trey Young and his agents are working with the Hawks to find a new home, as this all appears to be, and no one's denying it, I would expect something's happening in the next few weeks before the February 5th deadline, and B, Washington is a really intriguing, if strange, potential landing spot.
I think with this, Raja, is I know this is not your bag, but I'm gonna throw it to you anyway. My thing is with this, Raja, is it doesn't seem this particular trade to Washington, and we'll see if it does happen, like what the final piece of the deal is. But it doesn't seem to help anyone involved here, right? Because if you're Trey Young, you're getting into your late 20s, you seem to be wanting to go to a championship destination. This seems like another rebuild. It doesn't necessarily help Washington because all that they have been saying, at least behind the scenes, is that they're going to shed salary and that they're going to try to take on your expirings. That's cool. And we're going to just try to draft or try to, bring up, compile a whole bunch of draft capital, right? And then see what we do from here, right? And, see if a young guy could fit or maybe somebody else could fit within that framework. But like, we're trying to tank. And this seems to, all this is going to do, I feel like if he goes to the Hawks, if Trey Young goes to the Hawks, it just piss him off. It's piss Trey Young off. And he's going to make his money, but he's not going to get what he ultimately wants, which is, controlling the marketplace and, a chance to win. As a player on this one, right? If you're Trey Young and you have given, made the Hawks relevant, would you be pissed off that they would be, hey man, you gonna send me to this place after all I've done for the franchise? I get you want to leave. Like that seems kind of out of pocket for the Hawks to entertain this. At least send him to a contender. It's not like they're sending him to something to play with Giannis. They're sending him to go play in NBA Siberia at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
no offense to Siberia. Shout out to Siberia. I'm sure maybe we got a fan.
Yeah, I mean, as a player, you can feel however you want to feel, and yeah, I'd probably feel, to some degree like that. And I'm sure Trey doesn't want to wind up in Washington ultimately, but you don't have any control over where they send you in some of these cases. I mean, some people are powerful enough and contractually in a situation where you actually do control it. Trey's just it's a weird one. You said nobody wins in this. Trey doesn't win. I don't think Washington wins. There is a world in which, CJ McCollum plugged in to Atlanta. I think they may win a little bit. You cancel that if they have to give up draft capital to offload Trey Young. But like, if they're not giving it up and they're just getting CJ McCollum back, I can make a case where that's a good look for them. I don't know. These are obviously, this isn't my bag necessarily, but Trey's in a weird spot as a player. Like, what are you? What do you represent to losing teams that are trying to tank, that may not want to be viable, as it relates to like lifting their floor up to a degree that prevents them from doing that? And with winning teams, I mean, can you fit into a winning recipe? Are you willing to augment your game at this point in your career to be a better fit? Are there things that you can do if you plugged into like a point guard needy team like the Rockets, who I always use, right? Like, are you at the point in your career where we might be willing to make some accommodations in our own game in search of what you're talking about, Logan, which is a destination that you might be able to win? But that's not a one-way street in terms of Atlanta sending him to Siberia, right? Like he's got some culpability in this as a player, and obviously other teams would have to see him in the light that would suggest he could help them win. And I don't have the answer to how they see him right now. I just don't.
You brought up a really good point, though. And just like the thing about Trey Young that is so frustrating is the lack of balance he has with talent and how to use that talent, right? Because when I watch him play, he can do everything. He can shoot the ball. He can do everything but play defense. He's not willing to do that. But he's one of those guys that you see the stats and you're like, man, why isn't his teams better? Why doesn't he lift up his teams? And he's at a point right now where he has to change habits. Like, it is what it is at this point. If he wants to get to the heights that he ultimately says he wants to get to, whether that's in Washington or anywhere else, because I think at this point where a lot of factors are at play here. It's the new apron era that we see ourselves in, right? Where like these high priced players who don't give you everything aren't necessarily in demand as they used to be, right? Like, you're going to have to give up draft capital to get them, or you're going to have to pay a high salary on these, basically a hard cap. My question to you though, Raja, is how does he do that on the fly? Not only like with a new team, but also mid-season if this happens, right? Because it's very clear that they're trying to get the Hawks are trying to get up off of him mid-season. That's a really hard transition to go through.
No, well, I don't have the answer to that. It's super difficult. I don't want to say impossible, but as close to impossible as you could probably get. What I'd like to say is you need a behind-the-scenes campaign by your team, letting everyone know that this wasn't a Trey issue, although there's a lot of data to support that it was. But that's what you have to have. Like, what do they call those press campaigns when people are out there just trying to like save face and like, but that's what you have to have behind the doors. You have to be selling like, hey, look, this was circumstantial. Here's what happened over the course of his career in Atlanta. This is what he was being told as an organization. Here's where he's at now as a pro, umpteenth years in. Like, this is what he's willing to do. Here are the sacrifices he's willing to make. Winning is the priority now. Like, that's what you would have to do, in my opinion, because there's nothing that the player can do. Like, the player's going to go to Washington, right? The player's going to be in a situation in Washington where he's probably still the best option. It's going to revert him right back to what he was doing in Atlanta, because quite frankly, there's not a whole lot there that can help him be the other version of himself that winning teams would want to see him in a role suggesting that he would do it with them. So I don't have the answer. It's almost impossible. It would be a lot of back channeling, a lot of calls to front offices, gauging interest and trying to explain the situation and trying to let them know what type of soldier they'd be getting if they were willing to bring him in there.
Howard, what press clippings do they need to keep out of this press junket? Like, probably like everything that has been written about him, everything about like is he? Are they gonna? They can't call Lloyd Pierce as a reference here. Like, it's a really hard sell to get Trey Young to like tell the team like, yo, Trey Young is like reformed and like he's gonna, these data points are wrong and he can change. Like, how do they convince a team that Trey Young is not who he is?
Trey Young's been in the league long enough. Everybody knows who he is. This is not, there's no creative reassembling of press clippings here that's going to change his reputation, his image around the league. Everybody knows who he is. This is why we're talking about it's not clear if Washington's going to demand draft capital to induce them to acquire Trey Young, right? The Hawks just want, and Trey Young, I think probably too, the Hawks for sure, are ready for a divorce. And so the starting point here is not, we've gone another direction and Trey's really valuable. Let's see what we can get him to help keep building around Jalen Johnson and the rest of these guys. Like, yeah, of course that's the goal. But really the issue is we were really good this season and looking like we've got a great young core. And like Trey starts playing and we start losing again. And it's not small sample size. They've got years of data as the Hawks, and the whole league does too, that for all of Trey's talent, his shooting ability, his passing ability, his playmaking often gets, I think, lost in the shuffle here, but he's a great playmaker, but he's a small guard, and he's a small guard who does not or cannot defend. And so, your net rating with him on the floor, all the on-off numbers look really bad traditionally. So what you need is to find a place where a team can absorb all of that and say, like, we can take advantage. We love his playmaking. We love his shot making. We think he could be great here, but we've got to have the infrastructure around him to play, to defend, and to make up for the fact that we're going to have to stash him, hide him as much as possible, even though teams are going to target him constantly. So do you have a great defense that can counteract that? And do you have the kind of guys around him who will make sense? It's a really hard thing to figure out. It's a hard solution, and that's why this is, I think, going to take time, or why he might just land with a team like Washington. And by the way, quick thing on here that I did not mention in the opening part, and I should. I don't think it's clear that the Washington Wizards actually want Trae Young. I think they're looking to shed some salary themselves. I think they're looking to possibly get some draft capital. They are still in a tank/rebuild. I think there's probably another year to go on it. So either Trae plays there while they're still losing, because that's what they're still inclined to do, or they're just going to try to flip him again. Or, and this is also in the ether here, we should consider this. Trey Young's making $46 million right now, right? So there's step one. You got to figure out how to make up the salary in a trade. But step two is he's a potential free agent this summer. He's got a player option for $49 million for next season. If he thinks he can make more, he'll decline the option, and maybe somebody gives him, I don't think he's getting to start at that number again, but maybe a longer term deal with more money. Or if he doesn't think he's going to make anywhere near that, Trade's going to pick up the option. But if you're the Wizards or anybody else who has him, you're only on the hook for one more year at that $49 million next season. I think it's fully possible here that the Wizards would be acquiring him just as part of their reshuffling, as part of their overall rebuilding / tanking / whatever they're doing, and that Trae is there temporarily at best. Either they're going to reroute him eventually, or they hold on to him as long as they need to until they figure out what their path forward is. But if while he's there, they see the best version of him and they think they can figure out a way to structure around him, sure. But off the top of my head, I'd say no, I don't think Trae Young is the answer to the Wizards rebuild, or is their kind of player for the administration that's running them right now. He does not seem to me like the logical star that the Wizards would look to build around after a couple years of a teardown. That does not make sense to me. So my best guess, if the Wizards get him, it's temporary.
And even if it's temporary, that's so tough, Roger. Like, even if it's temporary, like, and say you rerouted Trae Young, like, all that's happening over these games that he plays in Washington is his value is going to start to tank. Like, they're going to lose games. He's going to play the way he played. He's basically going to another version of the Hawks in this without a Jalen Johnson, right? Where he has to, be the number one option, not going to play no defense, probably have some good stats and some legitimately good games. By the way, he's out right now. What were you going to say, Roger? What's going on?
No, I'm to piggyback. It is the worst. If you're saying we need to show the league something different, that situation is the Antichrist. Like, you don't want to go put him in that.
At all, right? And I get the Hawks' perspective, right? Because I got to give the Hawks credit here for this one, for at least this point. They went into this season, they have a new regime, and they said, hey, you know what, Trae, we're going to try to do right by you. We're going to put Porzingis around you. We're going to get Nickeil Walker-Alexander. We're going to make a push. Because, look, people forget, it's not that long ago we thought me and Howard and maybe Roger picked the Hawks as our sleeper, right? We thought that they could have the talent maybe to go make a run. Okay, whatever, forget you. I did, forget it.
I want to be clear. I was not a Hawks believer.
I was like, maybe you could talk me into it at least, right? Because at the beginning of the season, the Eastern Conference looked very bleak, and we're going to talk throughout the next couple episodes about how the Eastern Conference is becoming. You guys talked about that last week. But all that to say, I got to give them credit because they did do right by their players and be like, hey, we're going to just do everything we can to the best we can with this window that we have. Porzingis has been injured. Trae has been injured. They've seen enough, and they're pivoting right now. And I got to give them credit for that. Washington, I just don't know what they're doing right now. Like, you can't run two races at the same time because even it's like, say Trae says F it and I'm going to play really good this season, you play your way out of that protected pick, even if you do get draft capital, right? So, like, there's just so much. I'm very curious to see how this goes, right? Because you also want him, Trae, if he's going to do a hard reset, he should go to a team that is going to really be really strong as a front office. And I'm not saying Washington isn't necessarily, just have different priorities. I just don't know the perfect scenario for him to go, because if you look at him and the way we've talked about it all episode, he is a guy that he's a great offensive player. But if you look down the league, say he goes to the Western Conference, they are going to target him defensively, no matter what. Even if he is on a team that is in contention. Say he goes into Houston. Oh, okay, bet. Oh, I'm Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Give me Trey Young every time. I'm switching on to Trey Young every single time, right? Same with if he plays, I don't know where else, but that's a perfect example here. I just don't know where he goes with the change. Trey Young is just such a flawed player that I just don't know an upside to where he is in his career right now. And I think that's bleak, but I just think that's just real where we're at right now. I'm sorry. Was that too hard, Raja?
No. I mean, no. I feel for the player. I mean, it's always hard for me to see guys that are that talented, and because he's super talented, and the things that he can do, super talented, and a fun watch at times, right? Like you can watch him and be like, "Damn, dog, that's some wild shit." But and he's not the only player that falls into this category. He just happens to have the flaw of being the small guard who can't defend, right? So like, the 6'7" guard that plays this way that can't defend usually is not a huge problem, right?
What guard? The how tall is the guard?
Dude,
I mean the 6'6".
Logan.
No, I'm not. Yeah, no, I know what he's trying to do, but I'm not. What I'm saying is the bigger player that plays like this, because there are some, right? Like and it's always tough for me, man, because I'm close to people who have people on Atlanta, and I started hearing this a few years ago. I'm not as tapped in as you guys are to all the reports that are coming out of locker rooms and stuff, but I was hearing that, and like, they don't like playing with him. Like, these are good players, and they don't like playing with him. And sometimes it's hard for a fan to watch. It's easy with Trey. It's hard with other players to watch them and their brilliance and all that you love him for, and then wrap your mind around like, yeah, but other people might not like playing with him like that. Yeah. It's a hard thing, like, because we are fascinated with the star itself and all the cool shit that they do, and then sometimes you got the player, or the teammates like, yeah, man, but like, we're being marginalized in this. Like, this isn't exactly fun for us. And that sucks. Like, so I just hate it for him. I don't think you were too harsh on him, but that sucks.
You're bringing up a great point that we obviously didn't hit home, Raja, which is, the on-court stuff is like not great defensively, but like he was not only like well-liked among players, but definitely not well-liked among coaches, right? And I know he's been trying to do a rebrand over the last a year or so, right? But even that, it's like, even in the rebrand, he's going at it with like Patrick Beverley. He's just doing stuff that just makes you go like, why are we doing this? Like, what's going on, right? And that's going to always be a jacket that's on him, and that's something that he's always going to have to overcome at this stage of his career when other teams are trying to pay him, right? And so it's just, Howard, it's just weird all the way around for Trey Young. I don't have an answer for what he's going to be in the next few years, but I just think that, we're definitely at an impasse in his career.
But there's another wild piece of this, which is that you have this infamous, very noteworthy in NBA history draft day trade of Trey Young for Luka Doncic, and here we are. They're both going to have been traded by the teams that ended up with them after draft day. And the most shocking part of that, of course, being the fact that Luka was the one traded first, or that he was traded at all.
Also, quickly on Luka, though, they're both kind of at an impasse, right? Because those defensive critiques of Luka is starting to come back now too with the Lakers, right? And it's
sure. Yeah. Luka's had the better career so far, by far. Luka's going to have the better career by far. But the flaws in both of these guys have caused issues. I mean, again, the Mavericks should not have traded Luka under any circumstances, or at least under the circumstances that were existing at the time. But the concerns about him, the critiques of him, were valid at the time and valid now. You don't trade him because of that. But both of these guys have clear, flaws that are creating tension. And Luka's current team is going through it right now. The Lakers, obviously, the record's spectacular, but the results on the floor are not. JJ Redick, every post game just seems like a therapy session. I don't know where that's going.
Real quick on JJ Redick, I don't know. Like, I can't tell if they're winning or losing based on his press conferences because it feels like every
You'd
press
think they'd
conference
lost
is some
10 in a
sort of
row.
therapy session. So
Dude,
I think
it's
that's a
just-
JJ Redick thing.
Yeah, well, welcome to Los Angeles, JJ, where everything is championship or bust, and every day that you didn't win is a crisis. I've been through it from just, obviously the other side of it, just documenting it for 7 years, and like that's just how it goes there. Standard operating procedure for the Lakers, but. Trey Young is only 27 years old, so he's just beginning the theoretical prime, right? We consider it in the NBA to be kind of like, that 26, 27 through 31, 32, whatever it may be. Like, there's another chapter to be written here somewhere. You guys know, you've heard me say this a million times. I'm never ready to just give up on a guy. And maybe it's going to take that change of scenery or just a different environment, whatever it may be, to get something better out of him. But there are certain limitations built in because of his size. Could he play harder on defense and be more attentive despite his size? Yeah, like it doesn't negate your ability to play defense. It just negates your ability to play it well. And you're going to get switched onto guys. You're going to get picked on. They're going to get targeted. But he could fight a little bit more. And he could be a little bit better teammate, because what Raja said is the same thing that we've all heard for years about guys not enjoying playing with him. And that sounds really harsh. I hate saying that because everything else about Trey seems like a good dude. But it's been a constant frustration. We've heard this for years. So, and yeah, it sucks that this is potentially just a way station kind of move where he gets offloaded to Washington and then the Wizards try to flip him or let him walk away maybe as a free agent. Who knows how this goes? But I do think this is, whatever the resolution is for the Hawks and Trey Young today is not a permanent resolution for him. It is for them. They'll get what they need to get or whatever the most they can get, and they'll move on with a team built around Jalen Johnson, and they'll be happy to do so. They've got a lot of good talent. They've done a really nice job the last couple of years of putting it together. The Hawks will be fine immediately. It's Trey Young who I think is going to have to do some work and also may have to put up with the fact that the next move is not the one where he's landing where he wants to be. It's going to take some time.
I just have a hope for him that this is like an inflection point of sorts. Like, and he can, we talk about this. Howard, when you said that he was 27 years old, that in and of itself just blew me away. Like, it just feels like he's older than that. So to hear, from you that he's just approaching what we consider a prime, my hope is that he has that past your prime moment where we often talk about guys having to come to grips with, hey man, like I might have to change what I have, historically done to fit into a championship culture, or it's just, in some cases, it's just even to stay in the league at times. That won't be Trey Young's situation, but there could be a really nice chapter too. Yeah. But it's going to take a little bit of change. And to your point, it's going to take some work from him. But the first part of that work is self-eval, dude. Like, and just coming to grips with, hey, the way this has been working for me so far isn't the way it's going to work for me moving forward, unless your objective as a Trey Young is not to win championships. Because if that's not what it is, and you just, like you might say, hey, dude, I just fucking like doing it like this. This is what I'm going to do. And, if that's what it is, then the Washingtons of the world.
It's funny. Like, I think that you saying that, Raja, like Howard said something that was really, like he brought the prime age into this discussion, which I feel like is so valid and fair. But I think the other side of that, when you see these all-time great players go into their prime, it's that what comes with it is the self-awareness of both their body and their game and what the capabilities of both are at that time and adjusting accordingly, right? At 28, that's when Jordan was. He was still a high flyer, but he was also coming to grips with like, yo, I need to get good on this fadeaway. I need to get good on this up and under. I need to get good on these other things, right? Same with Kobe. Same, with Steph, who was Trey's idol, right? Like there has to be an adjustment as you go through your prime because you're still great and everything during that time, but like you still have to adjust, right? I think about on another side of this, great career, really good career, but not a great career. John Wall, who did not. And he had injuries, but did not adjust his game based on how his body was flowing through, right? And I think that that's something that Trey has to consider as well. Two final thoughts on this. One, Raja Bell is way more tapped in than he lets on and says he is. And two, one thing that we're going to have to just see with these reclamation projects, there's going to be a big difference with this new apron era, bro, because it's going to prioritize drafts a lot more. We're going to start seeing more of an NFL model where we're trying to draft these superstars and pay them accordingly and then try to build around them. It's not going to be as much outsourcing from other teams with other disgruntled stars, right? Because the price is too high and it's going to take too much to get him. So Trey, whatever it is, he's going to have to get in line. So we'll figure it out. It's going to be a fascinating story to go. And we're going to take a quick break and go into another fascinating story, the Oklahoma City Thunder, next. We are back. The world is falling on Oklahoma City right now. Okay, it's something. It's just they're top of the West, but they're 6-6 over their last 12. They're 5-5 for all the conspiracy theorists that say ever since Chris Finch just complained about the refs and the foul baiting is just not working now. But I think that this is a good time to have an OKC discussion because I think it's just been building because they lost to Raj's Hornets 124-97 at home.
Damn. We could go through an entire 12-month cycle of making references to Raj's career, never actually touching on that Hornets. Like, remember your Suns days with Nash? Oh, hey, the Philly finals, Iverson, Charlotte. Like, man, that's cold, Logan. That's
Bobcats, maybe. Okay.
Bobcats, but completely different.
I watched the game last night, and it was crazy, dog. It was nuts. It was one of those things where it was like, okay, OKC should come back from this. They should come back. They're down 8. They're down 20, but there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of time yet. There's a Brandon Miller shot here. Bang. There's a LaMelo shot from the corner that's just out of pocket. It's just a stupid shot. What the hell was that? But it goes in. It was one of those nights for OKC, right? They one interesting thing. They won the turnover battle by 14 and still lost by 27 points. That just doesn't happen. This speaks to how bad their shooting was and how bad their defense was. Shay didn't play particularly well. No one played particularly well. JDub didn't as well. But this is coming on the backdrop of them losing 3 times to San Antonio. They have a curious loss to the Suns, which I think in the grand scheme of things wasn't a big deal, right? They were at the end of a road trip. Those are the hardest games to win in the league. And then also the game that they just had was the beginning of a homestand, which is also a hard game. They're just in a weird schedule, right? I'll start with Raja here. We talked about why this team shouldn't go for the record of regular seasons, right? And I think we're starting to see that they're really not equipped to go through a record like this, which is fine, right? I think they're going on the trajectory of maybe 60-something wins like they did last year. And I think when you look at 60-something wins, I think you were a part of a 60-something win season. You have these ebbs and flows. You have the 6-6s, right? Then you go on a run. Then you go on here. What should we just be looking for as a consumer of basketball with this team? And what does this stretch say about them at this particular moment?
Well, the stretch says that they're not invincible, right? And that's a thing. When teams are coming into your building and you seem invincible to them, that's a huge advantage. And so when teams are coming in thinking you have chinks in your armor and they can find a way through those into the soft spots that are going to really hurt you, that's a different ball game. And there was an era of invincibility around them for a while. So this just suggests that they're not invincible and, they can't conduct themselves like they are. As far as what they have going on, look, I said this when San Antonio beat them, what was it, Christmas Day? And we were on here talking about, was it Christmas? Yeah, right? And we were talking about all the things that San Antonio did to them defensively and what, San Antonio was able to do offensively. But I said then, they got a bunch of wide open shots. They missed them. They were missing a lot of wide open shots in that game. And that's been a trend. Like, they have not shot the ball consistently well. There's been a bit of a dip in what they do defensively. I think those things correlate. Like, when, you don't want them to, but I think organically in human nature, suggest that those type of things kind of correlate more than coaches would want them to. And then they're trying to look, they've been injured. They've had major injuries. They've had a lot of fringe injuries. They have a ton of depth. And, when you're trying to reintegrate pieces in, there are chemistry issues sometimes. There are lineup issues. There are combination issues that coaching staffs have to figure out. There's role definition within that. Like guys got used to playing a certain way, handling a certain amount of the business as it relates to offense, moving and creating and that role definition that was, well, when you introduce pieces back into the lineup and Jay Will is back, he's going to naturally reassume his position in the hierarchy. So guys have to fit. Everyone from him down, not necessarily Shay, but everyone from him down's got to adjust minute-wise, role-wise. And so there's a lot going on for them in this little stretch of time. I do think, I say this a lot, good coaches figure out ways, good teams figure out ways to use things like this as something that could be very beneficial for them down the road, right? We go through these troubles now. Yeah, there are ebbs and flows in seasons, just like there are in games. We got to ride this, figure out how to come out on the back end better, and then understand that we are not invincible and we have to play certain ways to win games in this league so that we're buttoned up for when it really matters the most.
We talked about this weeks ago when everybody was talking about, they're going to break the record and everything else. And I said, I wasn't expecting it because usually, and I really respected the way they came out, right? When you win the championship and then you come out at just a record pace, it's such a testament to your professionalism and your commitment and how serious about the game you are. Like, no, we haven't proven anything. That was last year. We're not gonna let up. Awesome, great, cool. But that's really freaking hard to sustain for 82 games for anybody, and especially when you come off a championship because you played more, a couple more months. So what did I say? There were three things that I thought could derail the record win pace, the 74 win pace: fatigue, injury, boredom. Injuries they've certainly had, right? Isaiah Hartenstein's missed the last 12 games. They're 6-6 over that span, although it's a little misleading. Like their record without Hartenstein overall this season is fine. And when he's played in the last 12, they were still like 1-4 with him. So it's not about that, but they have had injuries. They've had, as Raja mentioned, some maybe just not chemistry issues like anything toxic, but just like reintegrating Jalen Williams. Other guys had stepped into bigger roles, now have to step back a little bit. You're reshuffling a little bit when Hartenstein's out. Chet Holmgren's playing more at the 5, all this stuff. And then the boredom factor, I think, is just the biggest thing. And a little of fatigue, maybe. It's just hard to sustain that level of focus, of intensity, night after night. And we have officially hit the dog days because it's January. You start getting there late December. And at a certain point, especially the style they play, like think about why they're dominant. Like, yes, they have very good offensive players and Shay's an all-time great offensive player, but they're not. I said this, like Zach looked at me like I was, on drugs a few weeks back when I said I didn't see them in the same way as I saw like the Bulls dynasty or that won, that had the 72 win season, or the Warriors who won 73, or they're like, I don't think that the offensive talent is at that same level of overwhelming level. Like it may get there because Jalen Williams and Chet are young. But this team is built, their dominance is based on their defense, right? They just eat you alive. They lead the league still in deflections. They're going to make everything tough, and they're going to get out, and they're going to get a lot of easy baskets off of runouts. And that's a really hard way to play for yourself. Like it makes it tough on your opponents, but like sustaining that all out, we're just going to try to gobble up every single possession, every pass, every handoff. That's tough. So I do think some level of fatigue, boredom, injury has kind of crept in. And look, they're still on a 66-win pace. They're fifth in offense for the season, first in defense, but over the last 12, they've got the 22nd rated offense. And a lot of that's just three-point shooting drop-off. Maybe that's a little fatigue. Maybe that's just, the vagaries of a season. They're still second in defense over the last 12, but that's noteworthy because they were number one by a long shot in defense before. And I think they're now down to 2 over the last 12. So three-point shooting's been really rough over the last several weeks for them. I'm not worried. I think the one area of concern that I would look at as just like an ongoing thing is where is JDub? Because he's coming back from that hand surgery in the offseason. He's averaging 17 points a game. That's down 4 points a game from last season. His effective field goal percentage is .492, which is not great for anybody, and it's down from .537 last season, and it would be a career low. His 2-point percentage is down to 49.8. That's down from 53.3 last year. His 3-point percentage is at .313. Grizzly. He was at .365 last season. And his free throw attempts per game are down by almost an attempt per game. So, like, JDub is not himself yet. This is not to point the finger at him. Just saying, like, I think he's still kind of getting back to who he's supposed to be. And when he is, that solves a lot of issues.
I'm glad you brought up JDub, Howard, because I believe he is the key to all of this, at least in the interim, right? Because in the losses that they've had, particularly the instructive losses against San Antonio, he has not been good. You look at his shooting percentages. I think he went like 5 of 16 in the first game. He hasn't shot over 50% against the Spurs, and those were the games that really kind of derailed their opening stretch. And I remember watching all 3 Spurs games and thinking, man, Shay's doing a lot right now, right? Like, he needs a secondary option. And the way their offense right now is set up, JDub is the one that needs to he needs to fill out those holes offensively that Shea can't, right? When the offense is humming, it's Shea getting to his spots, doing his little hickory-dickory-dock game, and then Jaylen is kind of fixing those pieces. I equate to Jaylen right now, and I'm only saying this because this is idol and this is the trajectory that he looks up to, right? I'm not saying it to comparing them as players necessarily, but he, I think, tracks as like 98, 99 Kobe, where he's trying to figure out his way within an offense and a championship structure. Yeah, he had that big game in the finals, but he's still coming into the fold of having to do that consistently throughout a season where he is that bona fide number 2 scoring option. And when they play the San Antonios of the world, I'm only calling it San Antonio because they're the team that consistently matches up the best with this particular team. He has to find his spots, because what happens is you get a team that has a lot of length. They're going to gobble up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and not only take away his shooting and driving lanes, but his passing lanes. And when that happens, there's a lot of open shots there for JDub to take, and he has to assert his will on that game. If that doesn't happen, you have a lot of weird step backs from Shai down the stretch that are not great shots, and you have him trying to figure out his offense, which is a lot what happened last night. When, you know, he's not getting to the free throw line, but he's shooting a lot of like fadeaways. He's not shooting well. And this offense is only good at this point, as good as when Shai is good. And that's the first point. JDub needs to step up. Chet needs to find his game and come along too, but Chet's not the number 2 option. The second thing that I would say that I've been seeing from Oklahoma City is they're just going through the rigmarole that happens when, 1, you are an it team, and 2, when you're an it team that has won a championship. They're still getting congratulated from last year's accomplishments, right? I think about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting the Sports Illustrated award that he got, right? With that comes an extra flight to Vegas, where you have to go to Vegas real quick, then come back for a game. I don't know if he's done that yet, but that's on the horizon for him. I forgot when that event is, but that's going to happen. But that's just one example, right, where you're getting the star treatment. You're still trying to figure out your game, but you're getting all these other avenues of things that are just pulling at you, right? Like Raj always talks about, like, Steve became like this generational, not only star, but like a celebrity, right? Where you're just getting pulled in so many different directions, but you still have to maintain the level of play that you're playing at, right? And I think they're kind of going through that adjustment as well, where, you know, I think I talked to, I'm gonna shout him out, my editor, Isaac, who was talking about, like, when you get to the level of success that the Oklahoma City Thunder are getting to, every loss is going to be on this podcast, right? Every curious loss that you have is going to lead First Take and Sports Center from an NBA perspective. Like, what's wrong with the Thunder? They're just going through a 6-6 stretch. They're fine to us, but like to the bigger basketball community, they're going to have to get used to every time they do something, bad or good, it's going to have an outsized attention on them. And I think that they're adjusting to that right now. And I think that that's what's kind of illustrating what's going on right now during this run.
SI Sports Person of the Year is, in fact, today, January 6th. So in theory, Shai is in Vegas for that today.
Yeah, and he's supposed to go back. I think he's from what I remember, he's probably going to go back tonight. He's going to go to Vegas today and then go back tonight. I don't know when he's going to get home, maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I know that's Raja, I know. You did that and succeeded. We know that you're not Raja, for the record, had one of the games after one of these types of events, hanging out with Stevie Nash, and it does not suffer any fools of hope.
No, not my best game, but you figure out a way to win the game because you know what you did the night before, so like you figure out. Yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
I just want to know which room Raj's Bobcats jersey is framed and hanging in.
I think it's framed.
I thought I might know. I don't have a Bobcats jersey.
No, collector's item. They don't exist anymore.
If you did, I would take it from your house and put it up, have you sign it and put it up back here.
I think the Bobcats. The Bobcats actually sent me like an alumni gift. A year or so ago. I thought that was pretty cool because I didn't even think. Well, the Hornets that were the. Yeah, I don't know who the. I don't know, dude. So I got something from Charlotte.
Which logo was on it?
Which logo was on it?
Yeah, I don't remember it, man. It came from Charlotte, so it might have been Hornets.
It might have just said Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte basketball team.
Okay.
But I don't even know that they claim. Who knew?
Anyway, Howard, as you were saying before we got derailed here.
No, that's it, man. I just needed to know where the Bobcats jersey was.
No.
Yeah, he said it was the SI Man of the Year was today. But I would. Yeah. Go ahead.
Go. That's all I got. Yeah, Shay is going to have to go accept an award, blah blah blah. But
and they play Utah tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know that how much of that stuff seeps in, but these guys are all human, right? It's just human to feel a little bit accomplished and be resting on your laurels, all that stuff. So I think all of it creeps in at a certain point, and then you refocus, you get your shit together, and you're fine. I haven't watched the debate shows today or listened to elsewhere. I don't know if anyone's going into 5-alarm fire mode of Thunder need to fire people, trade for people yet, but
you're not here. But I took a peek at the place that you don't go anymore on social media, and they were frying.
Of course they were.
That place is frying everyone at all times,
including our brain cells.
Exactly.
No, I just the J Will of it all. You made a good point, Logan, about what that does to SGA's ability. To facilitate and find people that score. It's a good point. I'd also use the point of, multiple times in last year's playoffs, it wasn't even about SGA and his facilitation to a player like J Will. J Will was taking possessions off of SGA's plate, right? He was taking primary playmaking responsibility in large chunks at times. And to the point that Howard made about fatigue, that becomes really important. Because if you don't have anything that keeps the game plan defensively honest, meaning, we can't shade it all to SGA because, the other guys will just only spot shoot or shoot spoon-fed shots. You got to have something that keeps it honest. And he was doing that in a major way. So getting back to being able to do that consistently it's going to be critical for them for long-term success,
And the thing is with their roster, right? They have a lot of depth, but they don't have a lot of consistent playmakers, right? They have guys that can play make, but not over a long stretch, right? JDub can do that. And that's kind of what they need to do. I don't want to belabor it when it's 6-6. I think they'll be fine. Fine. All right. You guys ready for mailbag? You guys any more points on OKC? You got anything else?
Good to go.
All right.
Mailbag it up.
Cliffy booted out the 2. Cartier Cliff in the building. What's happening?
Fellas, what's good? Raj, what's good, man? Looking crispy in that 4K. My brother, how's it going in Miami?
A little too bright for your boy, Cliff. A little too bright.
This light is bright as hell, dog. Are you hot right now? I'm hot as hell over here.
This shit is unnerving, bro.
Oh, man.
Y'all looking good in that 4K, man. Gearing up for the Netflix. Anyways, let's get right to it. This is actually from Blue Sky. This is from Howard Beck. He had an interesting debate here with London B. Johnson from Blue Sky. This is what London B. Johnson said. He said, good morning. Gun to your head to win a title this season. How many teams would get better trading their one for Jaylen Brown? Start of the season, goal to win a title, 110 games, and everything factors matters. I've only got Denver letting it go to VM.
Voicemail.
Voicemail. And OKC, Minnesota as the only teams hanging it up. Howard replies, if the exercise is strictly about best chance to win this season and not about long-term roster building, etc., I say the number's around 15, 17. London B. Johnson responds, want to run that back? I think he's top 5 and not 5. If you're trying to win this season, Howard Beck says, stay tuned. So Howard, explain the exercise for Logan and Roger here.
So, by the way, we're making a very, very rare exception here because every time somebody asks a question on Blue Sky, when I post about the mailbag, I said, sorry, realonesmailbag at gmail.com, realonesmailbag at gmail.com, realonesmailbag at gmail.com. But on this one, I'm letting it go because Jaylen Brown's been awesome. We haven't talked about him enough. And the Celtics are now in second in the East. And Jaylen's putting up like career highs, not across the board, but in a lot of places. He's been awesome. The Celtics have been awesome. So, guys, I think I was too hasty in my initial response to London. I said 15 to 17. I was just walking to the gym that day, tweeting back as I'm walking, like 15 to 17. I didn't really go through it, but yesterday I went through it. So I've got it all broken down here. Let's see how you guys feel. I'm going to say there are a bunch of teams that are an easy yes, and the exercise is this: it's trading Jaylen Brown for your team's number one guy. Tell me if you disagree on anything, or we can just put these off to the side. Yes, the Pacers are trading them Siakam at the moment, or if it were Halliburton still for Jaylen Brown, I think that's an easy yes. But especially under the circumstances, Siakam's their best player. Automatic yes. Pelicans, Zion, heartbeat, trade him for Jaylen. Kings, Sabonis hurt, but still their best player, easy one. Wizards, CJ McCollum. Sar, I don't know who their best player is.
I mean, they're trying to trade for Trey Young to be their number one. I mean, I think it would take Jaylen Brown.
We can stipulate the Wizards. We can stipulate the Nets. Michael Porter Jr. is their best player, probably. Hornets. I don't know if it's LaMelo, Concanipple, Brandon Miller. I'm trading any of them for Jaylen Brown, easy. Marketing for Jaylen, easy. Blazers, Avdia or Sharp, whoever, yes. Bulls, whoever it is, yes. Grizzlies, Ja Morant, yes, easy. Heat, Norm Powell, Bam Adebayo, yeah, painful if it's Bam, but yes, I'm trading him for Jaylen Brown right now. So that's 11 teams that
Wait. Roger said that's not unimpeachable. Roger said the Heat.
No, I said not painful. Not painful.
Oh, okay. All right.
So there's 11 teams that are definitely a yes. And then I've got a bunch of teams that are like, they're pausing first, but I still think they're saying yes. You tell me if you agree, disagree. Hawks got to give up Jalen Johnson for Jaylen Brown. I say yes.
Yeah.
Mavs got to give up Cooper Flagg or Anthony Davis, whichever you want to do. I still say yes. Because remember, the goal of this is, or the parameters that London said is
this season.
This year. Yeah.
The world ends on July 1st. So for the teams that can't win a title, I think it's maximize your wins.
So you're saying that the Celtics, so that Nico Harrison should have traded Luka to the Celtics. He wanted to win now.
Let's not go down.
Sorry. All right, go ahead. Yes.
All right. So again, if it's just for this season and the goal is to like maximize this season, Mavericks do it. Clippers, Kawhi or Harden, again, pausing, but I think saying yes. Especially
there's no pause. I didn't see no pause.
No pause. Fine. I'm trying to be respectful. Cavs, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, whoever it is. Yes.
Bye.
Raptors, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram.
Bye.
Whoever. Yes.
Goodbye.
Magic, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero. Yeah. Pistons, Cade Cunningham. I think it's pause, but yes.
Sorry, Cliff.
He's tough.
Because Jaylen Brown's also bringing the defense. I said, pausing, but yes. Sixers, Tyrese Maxey, pause, but yes.
Yes, there's no pause.
So that was 8 more teams. We've gotten to
Cade's tougher for me. Cade's way tougher than Maxey. Like way tougher than Maxey. That's a tough.
Cade is still gonna do it
here, but let me just again. I'm fresh off of Cade. I'm fresh off of Cade last night, dog. Chill.
Dude,
hold up.
Fair.
I'm fresh off of Cade last night.
So that
he has a. Yeah. Go ahead. Go,
Roger. Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say, that he's really fucking good.
Also, Cade fits. Fits in Detroit in a way that I'm not sure Jaylen Brown would.
He's really good.
Right, and that's going to get me to the next piece of this list. So, but we have, just for the record, we have all agreed, the 3 of us, 19 teams we've already said absolutely would give up their number one player for Jaylen Brown for this season.
Yeah.
I think there are 4 quick no's before we get to the ones where there's some tough calls. I think there are only 4 that absolutely would not do it. The Bucks are not trading Giannis for him. Forget the Giannis situation contractually and all the other stuff, and Giannis being, not happy with things there. I don't think in a normal situation that the Bucks are giving up Giannis for Jaylen Brown for this season. I say no. I think Jokic is a no, Wemby's a no, Shea is a no. Do we agree that those 4?
Absolutely.
Shea is a no. Yes.
All right. So we've got 19 yeses and 4 nos, which leaves us with these 6 teams.
Minnesota.
Would you rather take your chances with your guy or flip him for Jaylen? Number 1, Warriors, Steph Curry.
I'm gonna bow out of this one because I need to live here.
No, Steph. I mean, the way they play.
Also, Steph too. But I'm also saying you're an asshole for this.
Yeah, this is a tough one. But I'm gonna throw in there just because of stylistically what they do and how they're constructed to have to play. That's Steph.
And I'm going to say, navigating that current locker room, I don't think Jaylen can do that. I do not think he could navigate that locker room and make it successful.
I had the Warriors down as a no because of everything that Steph means to them. There's going to be a few cases, I think, where the culture of your team, the identity, and or, as Roger points out, the way you're structured, it just doesn't make sense. Even if Jaylen Brown is technically an upgrade of sorts because of the defense, like that, the heart and soul and everything of that team is Steph. You're not doing it. So that's 3 no's.
But yeah, it's that though. But like, I do think like if we were going to make the exercise, like taking that away, just player for player, in same rosters, I just don't think that Jaylen has it in him to both be successful and bring that group along with him.
Yeah,
I think
so. It's a lot of things. So all right, so we're all a no on the Warriors. Next up, Suns with Devin Booker. I say yes, they do it.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Logan?
I don't know. The reason why I don't know is because, I mean, Devin Booker's doing pretty good with this roster in a way that I just didn't, expect. And I just haven't – my thing with Jaylen is, he's a good leader for that Celtics team, but he hasn't had direct conflict, right? And I'm really scared to see how he has to figure out the dynamics of a guy like Dillon Brooks. Is he going to? And by all accounts, Dillon Brooks is a great locker room guy. Say what you want to say about what he does to the opposing team. He is a great locker room guy, but I just haven't seen Jaylen deal with personalities. He is the kind of personality in his locker room, but I haven't seen him kind of go toe to toe with someone else. And that's what gives me pause with him and the Warriors. I'm not sure how he's going to deal with personalities in that group. And the way Devin Booker has done that, and he's honestly been successful with that.
Devin Booker's been great.
He's been amazing.
Devin Booker, he's been great. I mean,
I don't know.
But
I'm going to say I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm going to say I don't know.
All right.
Yeah,
Raj and I both said we'd trade him for Jaylen Brown right now. Logan is hedging.
Yep.
I don't know.
You're good. I don't need that.
Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards. I say yes, flip him for Jaylen Brown.
I say no. The reason why I say no is we're forgetting what the hell Anthony Edwards has done by in the role that he has. He's brought him to the conference finals, dog. In a vaunted Western Conference. We'll see what Jaylen is about to do, but we're kind of in this argument, we're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse here, where we're like, oh yeah, Jaylen will take him to the Western Conference Finals by himself, and we don't even know what the end of this season is. He's had a great stretch. I'm going to say he deserves everything he's going through right now, but Ant has already done this. Ant has Jaylen beaten Joker with that roster?
All fair. That's why I put this in the tough calls category. But I lean yes.
That's a no. No, I'm legitimately really torn on this one. This one's a tough one. I think I'm going to lean. This is going to be like a 55-45. I'm going to say no.
Okay. A couple more. Rockets. I don't know if we're talking about Şengün or Durant or Amen Thompson. I think it's Kevin Durant, frankly, and dude just won another game
especially after last night.
Yeah.
So are you trading Durant for Jaylen Brown?
Yes.
Logan's a yes.
No.
I typed yes last night or yesterday afternoon before the game last night, and I'm going to be prisoner of the moment and flip to a no.
He was awesome last night, though. I'm not going. But this is what I'm saying, though. This is why it's tough, right? And I'm like, I mean, he already mad at me, so whatever. Like, what's else? What else is he going to do? Like, what is he going to do? Not talk to me? He's already been doing that. We
chatted about you briefly last week, Logan. He just kind of smiled. You're good.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyways. What else? What else is he gonna say? Anyway, so my thing is this, and this is why it's tough because Kevin Durant is freaking awesome. He's freaking. Let me just get that out of the way. He's freaking awesome, right? Yeah. But there's the injuries. This is why I'm going back and forth. I don't even. I'm gonna put couch it.
Man, get to the point, man. God damn.
Shut the hell up. But the thing is, you could make the point.
Oh, hemming and hawing. Go ahead, boy.
Shut the hell up. You're gonna make this pod longer than it is. We got one more question. The thing with KD is the injury concerns. There's also the age, right? We don't know how long he is going to what we don't know what the rest of the season kind of entails for him from a health standpoint, right? Jaylen has been healthy. He has been getting these numbers, and you're basically if you were to do that, you'd be resetting to basically last year's version of the team, and you're swapping out Jalen Green for Jaylen Brown, and quite frankly. That's pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, minus Dylan Brooks.
But you're also there was some whispers out there, not necessarily from me. I didn't hear that, but I had read about this. This would be a reunion with Ime Udoka, and he Jaylen loves Ime Udoka. Was defending him after everything had happened. Still wanted to play for him after the things happened and was disappointed that he got cut as a result of everything that happened. So that would be something I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know.
In this exercise, the case for trading Durant for Jaylen Brown is you're accounting for everything, as London said in his tweet to me. You're accounting for everything. And that could include age and injury concerns, right? So if you think Jaylen Brown's got a better chance of making it to April, May, June than KD does, that would be fair. All right, but we got 2 no's on the Rockets then and only 1 yes. I think these last 2 are the 2 hardest of this entire exercise. The Knicks with Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown brings more because of the defensive side of things and defense and size and everything else. But when we start factoring in, again, like we did with Steph, culture and fit and identity of the team and the straw that stirs the drink and all of that, the Knicks would have a really hard time. We could make the case on all kinds of stats and everything else to make this maybe an easy call for Jaylen Brown. But I think when you take into account everything and how much they're about Jalen Brunson, I think this is actually really hard. I actually leaned no on this one.
I'm sorry, Logan. I go no off a few of the things you said. Play style is critical to this one. What they have to do within what they do to be successful and to close games and yeah, I say no, but it's. I mean, if you gave me apples to apples, what player do you want? But in that situation, I'm going no with you, Howard.
The only way you say yes, and I say no, but the only way you say yes and you convince yourself of it is just the liability that Jalen Brunson is on defense, right? And whenever you have Jalen Brunson on the floor with Cat, it's basically you're playing 3-on-5 defensively. And if you traded for Jaylen Brown, that's not going to be a problem. And he could get you the scoring punch that that Brunson can. That's the only way you do it. But I think culturally, just the way that team is built, you can't really do that deal. Also, if you traded Jalen Brunson straight up right now for Jaylen Brown, I think New York would not like that too much, bro. If you trade him to Boston, you traded Brunson to Boston. Oh my God, it would not end well.
Wow.
And again, the exercise was taking into account everything. So, which leaves us with one.
Ben, relax. It's not real. It's not happening. Text after this fucking pod, yo, why would you do that? No, relax, Ben. Relax.
I don't know if Ben's listening to much NBA podcasting today with his Knicks on a 4-game losing streak.
I don't know about that. I'm just gonna say every time I don't think Ben is tapped in, but every time we talk about the Knicks, I get a text or we get a text in the chat like the podcast.
Ben just ping us to let us know you're still okay. All right. I know it's a tough time. Ben might have severed his, rest of his personality from the Knicks side of it right now and just ignoring the Knicks innie at this point.
It's a fair point.
We are down to the Lakers and Luka Doncic. Again, like Luka's freaking Luka, man. He's a perennial MVP candidate. Most years we call him one of the top 2 to 3 players in the NBA. Jaylen Brown is now knocking on the door of the MVP conversation for the first time. I know, like, Jaylen brings all the defense that Luka does not. This is a really tough one. I leaned no on this one also, even though intellectually there's a lot to say the other direction. I don't know, man. Luka does a ton of stuff.
I'll start it off. I'll start off, and it's a very simple answer, and I'm gonna say no, and it's for all the things that I think you're alluding to, Howard.
Yeah,
it's not just like it's not just Luka being Luka and how great he is as a basketball player. The Lakers require a certain type of player to be the face of their franchise, and I don't believe that Jaylen fits that mold. And like, I know that's been the story. No, but listen to me. It's more than just the player. It's the star power for the Lakers, bro. And it's vanity, and it's what you can do to market. And it's like, it's a certain type of player. And I think, and like, from a basketball standpoint, sure. But like, are you going to be able to sell that to the Lakers fan base, which is what they've cared about? You have to be historically great, but you also have to be historically like famous too. Like Kareem, Magic, Wilts, all you have to be in that vein. And by name recognition, Luka is at least in that vein. He's not there on a championship level, but he is there in that vein in terms of first name personalities that you talk. Kobe, Shaq. You need like a level of celebrity and game to be able to do that. And I just don't think Jaylen fits the mold of what that archetype is.
If we're gonna go, you could speak to that way more than I can. But and I guess the exercise was all things considered. So
yeah,
that I'd have to take some of that into account. Like, you're probably right there. Very, very tough on the basketball side of things. Very, very, very tough. I'd probably say yes on the basketball side of things.
Because you're trying to win a championship this season. Do you?
This year.
The thing. Yeah, does Jaylen with Austin Reeves and LeBron and the rest of that cast give you a better chance this year, Raja?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
I think so. I do think so. Just purely basketball now. But yeah, I see. I'm of the belief that to some degree, Logan, him pairing with Jason Tatum has kind of thwarted his ability to become a star that he might have ordinarily been on his own team trying to win championships. And that's okay. Like, that's a sacrifice you make to win championships and stuff like that. But Jaylen Brown's been trying to tell you that he's a star. Like, if nobody was listening, he was yelling it. And now you're kind of getting to see it, in a way. So yeah, I would say yes. Now, it's not an easy one, but I'd say yes for this year.
He is now firmly in the MVP conversation. Like the straw poll, the first ESPN straw poll that Tim Bontemps did was mid-December, and Jaylen Brown got, I think he got like on 11 ballots out of the maybe 100 or whatever. So he got like a couple of fourths and a bunch of fifths. And I think if you did that again right now, considering Jokic may be eliminated by the 65-game rule, and Wemby might get eliminated, and Giannis might get eliminated, and because of everything that Jaylen Brown's doing as well, it's not just by default by any stretch. I think if you redid the straw poll today, I think, first of all, Jaylen was not on my straw poll that I texted back to Bontemps a month ago. He would be today. He's legitimately in all of this, and I think he's been all NBA before. I think third team. So some of this isn't new, but when you have that much more responsibility and you're playing to this level and lifting up your team and putting them in a place that nobody expected this. They're in second place in the East on January 6th with no Jason Tatum, no Porzingis or Horford or Drew Holiday. It's really incredible what they're doing. So props to London for the great question. This was actually a fun exercise.
One last thing.
I was going to give the total here.
Okay.
So 15 to 17, I said I was probably too low by me. But we've just gone through this, and we've still only gotten to 21. We still have 9 no's. So there's still a third of the league that would say no to the straight up trade our best player for Jaylen Brown right now. So for whatever that's worth, London, you may disagree with the results, but that was interesting.
I just want to say shout out to we got one more question for you specifically, Roger. But I just want to say, like, that it's really dope to see this from Jaylen, bro, because to your point, Raja, and I have a little, like, just intimate knowledge with this just from, like, interviewing him a couple years ago. There was always, like, an underbelly from him of, like, I can be the guy, and I am sacrificing my game for Jason Tatum. Now, like, did he go about it the greatest way behind the scenes? Not necessarily, but he was always really good with being alongside Jason Tatum and played his role in the way that he needed to. And I'm really happy to see him kind of spread his wings and show everybody what he's been telling everybody behind the scenes. He's living up to his word. So that's some real one shit. We have one more question though for you specifically, Raja, that we've been holding off for the last few weeks. So Cliff, we have Raja here. We've corralled him. We're all here together. No time like the present.
This question was sent in over 2 weeks ago from Harry Liggins. This is last year, Raj, end of last year. He said, we have seen the AI step over Tyronn Lue highlight for over 24 years now. And I don't think I ever noticed until today that it was Raja who passed the ball to him prior to the shot step over. I don't know if I ever heard his recollection of what of that play before. Did it register in that moment? What was it like the next few days, especially with the Sixers taking that surprise lead in the finals and the play blowing up all over the highlight shows? Did you have any idea that it would still be such a big deal almost 25 years later?
Yeah, it's a good question. The answer is no. Didn't notice it in game. Did see it obviously afterwards, but had no idea it was going to register on like the NBA like all-time meter the way it does. What was it like after beating them? I mean, we all obviously thought that we were going to just walk away with that championship. I mean, we thought it was ours after stealing game one there. It was a pretty cool experience for me, having only been in the NBA maybe a couple months at that point. Still one of the coolest moments in my NBA career, walking off a Staples Center floor with a game one win in the finals, having been like in the CBA 2 months before that. I just had no idea though. Was that no, that wasn't the summer that, no, but I had no idea. People often will show me like, I hit a weird left-handed scoop shot, like over Shaq. And I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I had no idea what was going on in that game. The series in general. If you watch me on most plays, I'm just like everybody else is kind of where they're supposed to be when pick and roll is happening, right? Like, because they know, hey, space. And I'm the one idiot that's just running around, like trying to set ghost screens for people. They're like, yo, get out of here. I just had no idea what was going on. It was fight or flight. It was really cool to be a part of, yeah. But no, I had no idea.
Can you take us through that play, please? Like, what were you thinking in that vein? Were you like, I need to get the ball to Iverson? Like, what are you thinking in that play? You're like, fuck. 3 months ago, I was like, what do you think? Can you take us through that play? What happened?
Yeah, my thought process was really fucking simple. Hey, if he gives it to you and you're open, shoot it. If you get it and you ain't open, give it back to him. What do you mean? Doesn't get much easier than that. Hey, if you're open and he gave it to you, shoot it.
That's some simple 2001 math right there.
Easy.
Bro, I'm looking at these highlights. Hold on, bro. I'm looking at these highlights. You have fucking Robert Horry on you right here, and you threw some...
That's the lefty scoop?
That lefty scoop is icy, dog. You got the fresh Caesar, dog. Like, you got the taper going. I'm trying to find this play right now. I'm sorry, Victoria. You're going to be mad at... Okay, here we go.
No, it's okay.
Where I was free, though...
You're taking the ball up the court. Wait, you're taking the ball up the court right here. Eric Snow was, like, looking your way. You have Horry on you. I don't know if they're trying to hide Horry on you or something. And... take it from there. Like, you're just like, okay, Ivers is in the post and he has Tyronn Lue on him. That's the scoop. No, that's not the scoop. That's the step over.
Dude, I don't remember any of that, bro. I don't remember, like, I don't, none of that. I don't remember any of that. No. I mean, I've seen clips, but I've never rewatched the game.
Bro, this Forrest Gump motherfucker was all in through this game, and every time I've asked him about this game, he's giving me nothing. There's another play where Kobe and Iverson are talking, right? And they're talking shit, an iconic play. And Raja Bell's in the back like, oh. And we got a similar question a few years ago about, like, you were the only one that could know what Kobe and Iverson are yelling about. And Raja's like, I don't even remember, bro. And I'm like,
first of all, Like, but what the? I don't give a fuck what AIlen Iverson and Kobe Bryant are talking about. Bro, I'm trying to make a fucking roster next year. Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, I got a job to do. This man's about to get the ball and try to get his 50th point. I ain't worried about what them two are talking about.
Okay. All right, fine. Shit.
Real quick, because I can't. Cliff, did you mention this was from Harry Liggins? I want to shout him out because he's been really patient with this. Harry, thank you for this because I went back and I watched like the last.
You were at the game.
5 minutes or whatever. I was at that game, but like, dude, like Raja, I don't remember shit from 25 years ago.
Right.
I covered that series, obviously, as Laker beat writer at the time, but I went back because I wanted to see, like, how did the Lakers let this one get away? They were up 99-94 in OT. That's when Raja hits this really awkward, like 6-footer left-hand scoop shot.
Cash.
It's nice though. Like it's kind of like, what the hell was that? But like, wow, that
Shaq,
was,
I'm like,
nice
Shaq, step
touch.
up. You have a block right there.
Yeah, all
Shaq.
he could have volleyballed that.
Yeah.
So
That was nice and fluky.
So Lakers are up by 5. Raja hits that shot. Now it's down to 3. Iverson makes a couple of free throws. Iverson hits a 3 from a pass from Aaron McKee. Now they're up 101-99. Then Iverson hits the shot over Tyronn Lue to make it 103-99. Kobe scores to cut it to 2 points. And then Eric Snow, off a pass from
Roger Bell.
hits a 17-footer to make it 105-101.
Did you see that 17-footer? That was a bullshit.
I owe it to I gotta go rewatch it, man. Maybe I'll do that.
Look
Maybe
at
I'll do that with the
Eric
kids.
Snow bullshit 17-footer. I say that with all due respect.
Eric Snow was cash from mid range.
Bro, but it was like a weird it was crazy.
Can I just also, by the way, since this always starts as the step over, and I feel like as somebody who has talked to Tyronn Lue about this and written about it, I got to just make the real quick plug for Tyronn Lue here. Tyronn Lue did not get crossed over. Everybody thinks, oh, he showed him up, he crossed him over, and Tyronn Lue fell out. No. Tyronn Lue was in front of him. He lunged to contest the shot. He lands and turns and stepped on Iverson's foot. Like, if you watch the correct angle, you'll see he stepped on Iverson's foot and then fell. And
by the way, Tyronn Lue played great defense in that series and was an X factor in that series. And hold on, I got it too. This is my bag too. I know it too. He also played great defense in that game because him being inserted into that game changed the whole game. It had the Lakers coming back because the Sixers were up a lot during that game, and Tyronn Lue comes in and kind of neutralized AI for the most part, going into overtime, and then Iverson got that shot. So I just want to give credit. Just add on to that and give credit to Tyronn Lue.
Thank you, Logan. And two things to elaborate on that. One is Iverson went 18 for 41 in that game, which is a pretty good percentage 18 for 41 is good for him. But yeah,
41 is crazy.
He was 1 for 5 in the fourth, but he was 2 for 3 in OT. What's rarely mentioned, of course, when people talk about the step over one, of course, that's the only game that Raja Bell's Sixers won. The Lakers then reel off the next 4 in a row. But also, it was like the last real meaningful highlight for Iverson of that series. He went 48 for 121 over the next 4 games, and Lue is on him throughout. The other thing, just on Tyronn Lue's behalf, it's a really interesting and important footnote, because Tyronn Lue himself said, this was a quote he gave me years ago, Iverson making it to the finals saved my career. Without Iverson, there probably wouldn't be me. That was Tyronn Lue about 10 years ago when we talked about this. It was because Lue was out of the rotation. And back then, you got a playoff roster, which you had to set on the eve of the playoffs. And if you didn't make the playoff roster, it meant you were done. You could not play the entire postseason. And Lue was on the bubble. He was behind J.R. Rider. He was behind Mike Penberthy, this 3-point specialist who's now been a shooting coach in and around the NBA. So Lue was not guaranteed to make it. When Phil Jackson announced that Tyronn Lue because they had a team meeting where you announced the playoff roster, he announces Lue's name and like a cheers go up because everybody freaking loved Tyronn Lue. And it was no reflection on anybody else who didn't make the postseason roster, but the guys loved Tyronn Lue. And so there was like this cheer that went up, and they did it specifically because when they were looking at the Eastern Conference and expecting to get back to the finals, if they were going to meet up with Iverson, Lue was the one guy they had. Like Brian Shaw, Ron Harper, all these guys, like all good veteran dudes, but nobody who was quick enough. So Tyronn Lue was on the playoff roster specifically because they expected to meet Iverson at some point in the finals or thought they might. And as Tyronn Lue said, that saves his career. The Lakers don't re-sign him that summer, but the Wizards pick him up, give him a 2-year deal, and that, the rest is history, man. So, yeah.
Last thing on that, Roger, got to go. Tyronn Lue was the scout the Lakers scout. He was AIlen Iverson and the Lakers scout during going into that series too.
Wore the armband
wore the armband
in practices, yes.
And had the braids, which is awesome. Anyways, what else is awesome is this episode. That's been another edition of Real Ones in 4K. We ain't playing around with you motherfuckers in 2026. Let's tap in. All this shit too. See you on Friday. Tap in. Bye. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states for Kansas and affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.com in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.